The Red Raiders' trip to Orlando didn't go according to plan as the number 23 Red Raiders fell at UCF 75-61. In today's video, we'll recap the game and look ahead in what should be the main priorities for Texas Tech down the final home stretch of the regular season. Hey, how's it going, everybody? It's RC Maxfield here for the Back to 12 podcast. And before we get into today's recap, I want to hear from you guys. Give me your one-word reaction to this number 23 Texas Tech loss at UCF. I'll give mine here a little bit later on in the video. And listen, you know how I am on this channel. I'm brutally honest, and I'm going to be brutally honest with my one word here later on. But let me know yours down on the pinned comment below. All right, let's just jump right into this because outside of really Darrion Williams and Kerwin Walton, this team was just bleh. I mean, I don't know how you would describe that, but it was just bleh, right? And I'm sure somebody will quote that and take a screenshot of that or whatever. But anyway, they were sensational, were Darrion Williams and Kerwin Walton. They were the reason Texas Tech was in this game in terms of some of the offensive inefficiencies that the Red Raiders showed at UCF. Darrion Williams had 19 points. Kerwin Walton had 18 points. And then you look at your two lead guards, the guys that make this offensive ship for Texas Tech go. I mean, it is just that's the case, right? You look at it. Pop Isaacs and Joe Toussaint combined for 11 points, 4 of 19 shooting, only 4 assists, and 4 turnovers. They were awful. I mean, let's just call it what it is. They had 4 turnovers. The team had 14 as an entire unit, excuse me. But these two guys have to play better on the road specifically if you want to compete in the Big 12. And now I get it. You didn't have Chance McMillan, who had a sore hip. You also didn't really have Warren Washington anywhere close to 100%. He went and gave it a go, but you could tell really early on that he was fighting through it. And so you saw guys like Robert Jennings, Ameli Yalahu, and we'll talk about Kyron Lindsay here in just a second. But your front court was depleted, and you were without one of your lead guards in Chance McMillan. I get that. But the Red Raiders went on yet another 7+ minute scoring drought in this one, in the second half specifically. And that's where UCF just really took the lead and ran with it and really came to the point where it's like, all right, yeah, this one's probably wrapped up. I thought Texas Tech as a whole, again, Darrion Williams, Kerwin Walton, they played sensational. You have to get better guard play. I mean, I don't think that that's a hard thing to ask for in that regard. We know the struggles that Pop has had lately. We know the inconsistencies Joe has had in the sense of being aggressive and getting downhill. I've said it numerous times on this channel. If Texas Tech wants to reach their ceiling, I get it. They had 2 major injuries yesterday. But if you want to reach your ceiling in March, and March is just a couple of days away, Pop Isaacs and Joe Toussaint have to play their brands of basketball, which are elite shooter if you're Pop. He's struggled as of late. I know somebody in the comments going to say, elite shooter, look at his percentages. Look at his percentages historically. He is a good shooter, an elite shooter at that point. He is down bad right now. There's no debating that. But Joe Toussaint has to be aggressive. We can't see this get down to the block and then do a 180 and try and kick it out. No, go to the rim, Joe. Be aggressive. That is your best trait offensively. And that's where I think Texas Tech just really struggles on the offensive end. And you see these long droughts as they get away from what makes them great offensively, which is sometimes you're just going to miss shots. Let's just point that out there. You're going to miss open looks, and Texas Tech did yesterday against UCF. But that being said, they lose that aggressiveness and getting downhill. And it's not just Joe, it's Pop. It's really anybody that has a chance to get any kind of momentum towards the basket, okay? They have these long stretches where that happens, and then they have turnovers mixed in, and that gets you the recipe for a 7+ minute drought. And it happens every game, it feels like. And we'll talk about it here in just a second in terms of one of those priorities. It's going to be a part of that. We'll talk about it. But I had a couple people asking me about Kyron Lindsay and why he only played about, I think it was like 20 seconds, maybe not even that, in yesterday's game against UCF. And it sounds like to me something was said by Lindsay or actions in terms of Grant McCaslin didn't like what was going on there. And he played Ameli Yalahu. It's not injury related. So that's what I've been told on that front. But again, outside of rebounding, you had an even margin there, and you didn't really have Warren Washington play in this game. He played, but he wasn't close to what he was, I guess I should say, or could be. And outside of Darrion and Kerwin, I mean, they just played bad. I mean, it's really that simple when it comes down to it. Now, if you want more 100% honest, no sugarcoating Texas Tech content all year long, not just for men's basketball, but also football, and want to be a part of the largest Texas Tech community here on YouTube, you need to do 3 things for me. Like the video, hit that subscribe button, and maybe most importantly, turn on that notification bell so you're instantly notified when a video comes out here on the channel. It's the most engaging Texas Tech community on YouTube and the largest. So join it today if you haven't already by liking the video and hitting that subscribe button. All right. Texas Tech needs to prioritize these 3 things in the regular season in the final 4 games. First and foremost, let's just get the easy one out of the way. Get healthy, man. You got to have Warren and Chance at a high level, right? That's just really what it comes down to. And they don't have a lot of margin for error when it comes to their rotation, this Texas Tech. You think about it. Has Robert Jennings been okay for some stretches? Yes. Did Kerwin Lindsay really help you out in the TCU game? Yes. But really, when it comes down to it, if we're being brutally honest about it, Texas Tech has what? 6 impact players, 5 starters, Chance McMillan, right? If we're being honest, and you sprinkle in a little bit of Robert Jennings, you sprinkle in a little bit of Lamar, you sprinkle in a little bit of Kerwin Lindsay as well. But really, when it comes down to it, they have 6 guys that play heavy minutes. And when you have 2 of those guys injured in a game at UCF, well, it's going to be an issue, right? And that should be a priority for Texas Tech moving forward. It's getting those guys healthy and making sure they are as close to 100% as possible going in to the most pivotal month of the year for a men's basketball program, which is March. All right. Got to figure out the shooting woes. Over the last 5 games, and again, this is over the last 5 games for Pop and then dating back, not including the UCF game for Chance McMillan. Pop Isaacs and Chance McMillan are shooting 9%. Pop is shooting 9%. And Chance McMillan is shooting 13% from deep. Those are 2 of your 3 best shooters. You're asking Kerwin Walton to do a lot. And listen, I get it. Kerwin Walton is arguably the best and most automatic shooter in all of D1 basketball. That's not a hyperbole. Just go look at the stats. But these guys have to step up from deep. They have to get back on track. Again, if Texas Tech wants to reach their ceiling, Pop Isaacs and Joe Toussaint have to play at their peak level, okay? They just have to. They have to play their games. And Chance McMillan is kind of in that boat as well. But shooting is the identity of this team for Texas Tech. And they have not been a good shooting team for what feels like really outside of that Kansas game. I mean, really, what? 2 weeks now, 3 weeks, you got to figure that out. And part of that goes into the scoring droughts. That's why you see some of these scoring droughts, because Texas Tech does rely so heavily on shooting the basketball. It's been an issue all year long with the droughts. I get it. But if you go back and look at it, it's turnovers and just not making some open looks when you get them. But also there's just stagnant times where they lose their aggressiveness. And that comes with not going downhill, not getting your shoulders squared to the basket and taking a good shot. There's just so many factors into it. But I think if they shoot better, and again, this is a big ask in some regards, it's their identity on offense. They have to get better at it, specifically Pop and Chance, if they want to reach their ceiling. All right, last but not least, defend your home floor. Got 4 games remaining, 2 on the road, 2 at home. You play Texas on Tuesday. Raiderville, apparently, out there in the 806, has already got a ton of students camping out. Again, Texas on Tuesday, senior night is Baylor. Those are your 2 remaining home games on the schedule. You have 2 road games that are winnable in theory if you look at the talent perspective in terms of you being more talented than those teams, which is West Virginia and Oklahoma State. But if you defend home floor, like Grant McCasland has preached multiple times, you're in good standing. There's no doubt about that. But Texas Tech, once again, is going to be favored in virtually every game that they have remaining on the schedule, whether that's at home or on the road. But when it comes down to it, the main priority for Texas Tech moving down the stretch in these final 4 games is to get healthy. You have to get Warren Washington as healthy as possible with that toe/foot injury, and you have to get Chance McMillan back because you rely on 6 guys at a very, very high level if you're Texas Tech, and you have to have them as close to 100% as possible going into March Madness. All right, before we get out of here, one more question for you guys. What is your biggest concern for Texas Tech men's basketball heading into March? And I know I haven't given my one word, but I kind of have. It's not really one word. It's more of an action, I guess. And it's just throw up emoji. That's what that game was in a lot of ways, outside of Darrion Williams and Kerwin Walton, in my opinion. Just a throw up emoji. But maybe that's the Gen Z / millennial in me. I don't know. Let me know in the comments. And if you haven't already, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on that notification bell for, well, let's just be real about it. 100% honest, no sugarcoating Texas Tech content. That's what we're going to do here, okay? Simple and plain all year long, good and bad. That's what we're going to do. If you want to join the largest group of Texas Tech fans here on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. Stay in the know right here on the Back to 12 podcast channel.